Hey everybody, how's it going? So you bought a new rope and you totally made a whole big mess of it, huh? Let me explain exactly why there's a proper way to uncoil a brand new rope. So, you don't see it, but this is actually how your rope is coiled. Your rope might actually look a little bit more like this rope when you buy it, but don't be fooled. Your rope is actually, from the manufacturer, coiled onto something like a spool. Except we can imagine the ends of this spool are not here and we just take this whole coil off. Why does that make a difference? Well, if you coil something on in this orientation and feed it onto a spool, and then you go and you pull this way, and you start pulling the rope up in this orientation, each single one of these passes around, it becomes like a whole coil. Here, let me show you what I mean. Right here, I have a rope version of that, but in metal, so it's more visible. That weighs about 100 pounds. So, basically, what you're ending up with is a giant slinky. So what's the proper way to uncoil a brand new rope? Let me show you. Some manufacturers are actually changing the way they coil their new rope. That way you don't have this slinkification. I think that's the first time that word has ever been said. You don't have this slinkification of your rope happening. They actually change the way that they coil the rope at the manufacturer, so new climbers don't have that. I think that's a bad idea. Why? Because the feeling you get when you buy a brand new rope and this big mess happens to you is a great reminder that you don't know nothing and you need to learn a lot. So, I mean, I think that's a great introduction to climbing. Like, oh, yeah, maybe there's a lot to learn. Okay, so let me show you how you'd really uncoil a brand new rope. Okay, so basically the trick is, all we have to do is uncoil this and just imagine it's on a spool. So if we become the spool and find the one end, the accessible end, and we just unspool it like this, then we won't end up with any of those coils. So we just have to be the spool and get unwrapping. And after this, I'll show you my other magic tricks. Okay, maybe you shouldn't do it that fast because I just made a big mess of it. Anyway, I actually just did this in a mountaineering coil, which also does put some loops in it, which is not why not a lot of people like to use the mountaineering coil anymore, except for bad people like me, because I've been born and raised using it. So now this is what happened. This is a great example, actually. So this is a little bit of the extent of what you'd get if you just end up throwing it right on the ground and start pulling one end of it. Okay, so there's actually two methods I'll show you of a way to coil a rope so you never run into this trouble again when you're at the crag. And they're both the butterfly coil. This is my preferred method. I'll tell you why. So basically, you grab both ends. You can grab both ends, you can grab the middle if you have a marker in the middle. If you're not, you're just going to find both ends. And you grab maybe like two rope lengths, that's 10 feet. Let me put this on my neck. Okay, so basically what you're gonna do is you're just gonna wrap this back and forth over your neck. Now, what's good about this is since we have both lines, we're doing this twice as fast as any other method. So if you have a really long rope and you need some time, you don't got any time to waste, trying to get the heck out of there, this is actually the fastest. And you're left with a nice, neat stack. However, the downfall is when it's time to flake out, and sometimes the middle rope is never exact. You get it kind of like that. So anyway, right before I lose my train of thought, trying to fix this thing. Oh no, my OCD is getting to me. Right, that's a little better. So anyway, the problem with this is when it's time to take it back off and unwrap it, I'll show you how to wrap it in a second. You can turn it into a backpack. But when it's time to take it, unwrap it, and throw it down on the ground, it's not stacked like the other method I'll show you. And since it's not stacked, you have to flake it out. Now, I think that's a plus. Why? Because you should always be flaking out your rope. It should be a part of your safety protocol procedure. You should take your rope and you should go through it and you should check for dead spots and like furry ends and make sure the core is not broken and everything like that before you go put your leader on belay. And then he's halfway through the rope and you realize a possum chewed through half of it because you dripped some of last night's dinner on your rope or something like that. Right? So I think flaking out your rope is very important. So I like this method because one, it's fast, two, you gotta flake out your rope and check it anyway, so who cares? So this method here requires, this next one, it's the same type of coil, but you don't have to flake the rope out like I am doing right now to show you how to do the next coil. Okay, so this next method can be done extremely quickly, but you know, that's gonna be no use if I do it too fast and you're not gonna know what's going. Hey, look at this, black rope and a black shirt. I'm a genius. Anyway, so what you do is you grab the rope and you put it around your neck, and then you're like, no, okay, then you put it, okay, then you go this way, and then you go up, back the same way you came, down, back the same way you came, down, back the same way you came, and you just go back and forth. Now, what this is doing is the first end I put, so it started with the first end, it's stacked underneath all these coils. So, the benefit of that is this rope will be perfectly stacked by the time I'm done. And we could potentially, if we keep things nice and tidy, potentially just belay right off of the stack and get right to climbing. However, like I said earlier, you're not going to be checking your rope, which I think is pretty important. And then bada boom, bada bing. Then you should split off. If you messed up, there'll be like a line right here. You know you messed up. But basically just keep going down, back and forth. Now what you could do is you could grab this and you can make a backpack. And if you need some more of this tail end here, because I seem to have messed up, because it'd be better if I had a little bit more tail on this end. But since it's stacked in the back part, I'm gonna do some of that, get some of this, and there we go. Easy peasy. Now what we could do is you grab both ends, like so, wrap it around, grab it with your legs if you have to. And then what you could do is you wrap it around a bunch of times because you took too much slack out. So you pass it through here. I like to stick it over the top like that. Put like the bite in there. Pull this tight. Bada boom, bada bing. And then you can make a little backpack out of it, like I've done in other episodes. And you can walk out of there or whatever. Okay, so that was a quick little, maybe long little, that I ran a lot, I don't know. So that about wraps it up, or unwraps it. Unwraps your brand new rope and wraps your new rope. That about wraps everything up. Check out Discord, check out my merch store. I don't know if I should announce this or not. What the heck? I'm thinking about starting to live stream climbing, but I don't know. I'm having some mic issues, so I'm figuring that out. Let me know if that's something you want to see. If you do want to see that, I'll put a link down in the description where you can check out my dry run. I had mic problems and everything, but Joshua Perry, climbing out of here. Maybe I could just go like this and fly out. No, climbing out of here.